Welcome back to the Married People's Business Podcast. I'm Michael Tobert.
And I'm Shalice Tobert.
And we are here with how to survive your class reunion and homecoming season without the fuss and the debate. It's that time of year again where we're going back to our high school class reunions, our college homecomings, whether it's your 10th year, your 15th year, or your 20th year. And some of y'all are old heads. Y'all might be celebrating like 50 and 60 where y'all taking swanky cruises and going out of town and doing everything. Right. And there always are things and problems that come along and debates and issues that come up with what is the right etiquette when I go back? Should I go back? Right. Who should I take? What should I take? What should I wear? And this podcast today is going to solve all of those problems and give you a little bit of pushing for the cushion so that you know how to get through those treacherous waters of homecoming season and reunion season.
So I think this episode is going to be really helpful, whether you're in a serious relationship, if you're dating someone, if you're married. This helps you kind of determine how you navigate those waters of going to a class reunion or homecoming at your college or whatever. And your significant other didn't attend that same school as you.
That's right.
You know,
that's right. And if you're anything like me, you know, when I'm sitting to my hot chocolate to my right, there's always some drama when you go back to the homecoming because there's always some dude that was trying to push up on her
drama.
In 1986. You know, so I got to fight off.
1986, I was 11.
Oh well, you know,
we didn't even know each other yet.
My math is a little fuzzy. You know, I'm not.
Oh my God, here we go.
Fuzzy, but so you know, it's always if you anything like me, it's always some problems with dudes trying to push up on what you got. So this podcast is going to help you get through the reunion and the homecoming season when you got a nice little thing like I got sent to my right with you. Well, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the debate, the biggest issue when it talks about homecoming season and class reunion season. The biggest issue is, should I bring my significant other or should I leave them at home?
And I think that even begs the question of, should I go? Because you're debating whether or not you should bring that significant other if you do go. So, you know, if you're in a relationship and you're dating someone, I think it depends on how serious that relationship might be in order for you to talk about taking this person, you know, to your class reunion or to your homecoming.
I'm torn on this one. I'm torn on this one because we've been married for almost 20 years in September, and we are a very unique situation because we've been knowing each other for so long.
Right.
So me going back to a class reunion with you, your high school class reunion, Westside High, is a little bit different than if someone is newly engaged, newly married, or just got together.
Yep.
Because you might not know necessarily the friends and the people. So for me, I think it all depends on what the comfort level of the person is that you're dealing with. Is this somebody that's completely new, that's shy, that, you know, if you got some wild, crazy friends like I got, they might not necessarily want that energy.
Yeah.
You know, do you have old exes dangling around and jumping up, old sweethearts, which we're going to get into in this podcast and how you deal with that issue. But I think you really have to really self-evaluate the person that you would. It's not necessarily you, it's the person that you're with and trying to make sure that their comfort level matches the reunion activities or the homecoming activities. But I would say first and foremost, if you are married, and I'm going to say this real clear, if you are married, I'm a firm believer that once you get married, you are one, and there shouldn't be anything that you should hide from your significant other or feel like the need to not bring them around, because I think that might bring up some sort of trust issues when you are trying to shield a certain part of your life or a certain aspect of your life. So I would say the default setting for me would be, you're always welcome to any of my class reunions or my homecomings. You could come in any time because I want you to know that that's a part of my life and I want you to share that with me. So you're open to coming. So I think the default is you could come, but depending on if you got a special situation, you know, you got a shy girl or a shy guy or insecure guy. Some guys are insecure and they want you only to themselves. Well, class reunions and homecomings are far from that because everybody's pulling at you. You bumping into people that you haven't seen in 20 or 30 years. And the focus is not going to be on that person, maybe like it is when you guys are at home. So you have to really kind of fill out your mate and know who you're dealing with.
And that's one of the things I know that I have discussed with you before. We do have a unique situation. So the whole high school reunion thing to me is a given for sure, because we went to school with the same people, even though you went to a different high school than I went to. all those people kind of went to middle school with us, junior high with us, and they lived on the side of town where you lived because that's where my high school was. So we have a unique situation in that respect. But one of the things that I think I've said before is about like, you're like, I'm invited to everything or I'm welcome to come to everything. I don't want you to have to worry about making me comfortable, entertaining me. And that takes you away from having your moment, your fun at the event that you're at. You know what I mean? So I don't want it to turn into, I got to make sure that my wife is okay and blah, blah, blah. And I think that goes to what you were saying about whether you got a shy person or somebody that's going to insert themselves and try to get to know the people that are there. So I think that makes a difference in the comfort level of your significant other or your spouse. So, yeah.
No, I think I would echo those sentiments. And I think for the audience, I think the way that I view this is I'm going to give the pros and the cons really quick in terms of if you should bring them and when you shouldn't bring them. So for me, I'm going to start with the pros first. You should bring your spouse or your significant other, girlfriend or boyfriend to your class reunion, to your homecoming. If one, you want them to meet another extension of yourself. If you want them to get to know the people that have poured into you, that have led to you being the man or the woman that you are, because college and high school are very formative years. Mm-hmm. So if you meet somebody later in life, they might want to know. It's real cool for them to be able to learn more about you than what you actually tell them. And let me tell you, your friends are always going to tell, they're going to always tell little stuff that maybe your significant other or your mate or whoever you're with don't necessarily know. Yeah. And I think that can actually strengthen your bond and your union when you give the person that you're with a little bit of a peek into yourself that maybe they weren't able to get without that class reunion or without that homecoming. So the other thing is, I think it gives you an opportunity to travel together, to experience things together.
Right.
So, a lot of times, we have a lot of friends that go to HBCUs or that go to places that are really, really nice places like New Orleans, Tennessee, Florida. So it can really be a nice quasi vacation and getaway for your long weekend. And it gives you a chance to recharge and to revitalize your relationship around friends. And it can really be a great time if you do it that way. I think the negative parts of this, as I touched on, if you have an insecure mate or an insecure spouse that wants you all to themselves, I don't necessarily think a homecoming or a reunion is probably the right perfect setting for that person. Also, I'm a firm believer that networking is a crucial part of the class reunion and the homecoming process where, let's just be real, we're lawyers. Okay. A lot of people are other professionals, doctors, dentists, lawyers, business people, stockbrokers. When you go to college and you develop these certain professional skills, there are other opportunities out there. People go and land in some really, really cool places. So if you're really trying to just do pure networking and you don't want the dangling of someone like a spouse or a significant other to be with you, then, I think that you probably should not bring that person if it's going to affect your ability to get out there and the network.
Well, I don't have any pros or cons that are significantly different. But what I will say is, it's always that person that was quiet, that wasn't doing whatever, or people didn't think they was hot or whatever in high school, college. Man, I'm bringing my spouse with me. So I'll be like, look at me now. Look what I got. Them pretty brown eyes.
Oh, you talking about the Maury Povich. You talking about the Maury Povich.
I'm talking about the Jenny Jones.
Oh, the Jenny Jones.
The Jenny Jones. Look at me now. Look what I got. Remember that episode of Martin? He was trying to bring Gina to his high school reunion. Like, my baby fine, And then she took something, I don't know. She went to the dentist and got a shot, and she came up in there looking like Quasimodo. Talk about my ear, I'm here, baby.
I remember that episode.
But there are some people that are gonna be like that. Just that they may not have been the most outgoing in college, so you might not learn much about them. Hey, we stayed in the same dorm. I'm, me. I am so bad with remembering where I know people from. So I'm like, is this high school? Is this junior high? Is it college? So I don't want to, be like, hey, this is who I know from college or whatever. But at the same time, there are some reasons you go back, like you said, the networking and whatnot. And so, I think it can be a positive. The other thing that, you got to deal with when you're deciding whether or not to take that mate, you kind of touched on it, those old flames.
Well, I think that goes to the last part of this podcast that we're going to close out with, to give the audience some tips to help you get through this season. Because I tell you, reunion, and I've seen and heard people break up over class reunions and over homecomings because they go back and they get in trouble. So this podcast is intended to help you on that. So this is the etiquette. We about to give y'all some etiquette fresh off the presses of Married People's Business. And this is from years and years and years of reunions and homecomings and dealing with hot chocolate over here,
tell you
dealing with her ex-boyfriends and
you are so extra. You are too extra. You always be like, am I invited? First of all, what kind of invitations went out for we have an all class picnic every year.
Listen,
and you be like, am I invited?
Listen,
dude, you know more people at the picnic than I do.
Listen, I'm a kept man. So if
wait. Let's rewind back.
I want an invitation.
You're what?
I'm a kept man, so I want an invitation.
Can we say that to the camera?
I'm a kept man. So listen, I'm just not gonna show up to anything. I need an invitation, and I need ruffles. I need it to smell like perfume. I need it to be a special invite.
So you want the class of '93 to make that for you?
Yes, I would like that. West Side High. I know y'all might have some troubles being creative because y'all not Emerson. Y'all not creative and with the craft.
So let's get back to this etiquette, because whatever you even talked about, I don't even know. I don't even know at this point. I'm not listening to him. We get to all the class reunion activities for my high school. He know everybody. I'd be like, who was that? Oh, that's so-and-so.
Yeah, that's P.P. Johnson.
He went to West Side. You don't know him? No, I don't. I don't know her. I don't know him. And I was at the school. So at any rate, the etiquette.
So let's get to the etiquette. We got to get to the tips to help you get through homecoming season, class reunion season. So a couple of things that you have to do, in my opinion. Now, this is what I believe that has gotten us through. Disclosure is a huge, huge thing in reunion. So, and what I mean by disclosure, what I mean is you do not want to put your spouse or significant other in a situation where they walk into a booby trap. And what I consider a booby trap is, hey, man, we all got a past, right? So we all got ex-girlfriends, we all got ex-boyfriends, or whatever the case is. So, I believe that you should not have your mate or your significant other walking into a situation and it not be known who you've dealt with in the past. So I don't want to know some dude that you've been messing around with, or you messed around with it back in the days or through college and at the Kappa house or wherever you at, whatever you were doing in college, where you not telling a brother that some dude then bought me 15 drinks. And I'm wondering, well, why does this dude buy me all these drinks? Well, he buying me all these drinks because he buying me all these drinks.
I'm like, because he tried to holler at you?
No, because he done hollered at you.
No.
So
first of all,
I think you should not put your person that you care about in a situation. Now, people might differ. People might say the past is the past, but I don't believe that. I think full disclosure is key for reunions and homecomings.
This is where we differ a little bit, because we've had discussions about this in the past before. And sometimes some people's past, they just want to leave it in the past. And not saying that it's a bad thing or that they're trying to hide anything. They might be embarrassed or about, behavior from when they were 19, 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're going back and you're 51 and you're like, oh man, I forgot that I don't know that I kicked it with so-and-so, or so-and-so was there. I just don't want to disclose that because it was, something that was stupid or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's you're hiding anything, but sometimes stuff you just be like, I erased that from my memory too. So,
Okay, well, listen, I just don't want no dude coming up to me talking about, they used to call it cola, and yeah, bird. Yeah, you know, man, they used to call it cola.
All
I don't
right.
want they used to call it cola.
But you know what?
Comments.
The other thing that goes into that to me is when I said at the beginning, you know, it's really about where you are in your relationship. Is there a level of trust that comes along with that? Understanding. And so, you know, where are you in your relationship? And have you had those discussions prior to, hey, here I'm coming to the homecoming with you or class reunion with you?
I'm with you on that. The
Yeah.
next tip that we will give you that has helped us get through homecoming and class reunion season is abandonment. And what I mean by abandonment is that you are with somebody, either be a wife or a significant other. You know, you do have somebody that is tagging along with you. So I believe that you should be cognizant of that. And when you get with your friends and nostalgia kicks in and everybody's talking about old times, it can be real easy to forget that you have brought somebody with you.
That is
So
so
you
true.
shouldn't leave them in the corner, shouldn't put them at the table by themselves. You can for a little while, but you shouldn't like abandon them for the whole night. You should check in with them at least to make sure that they're okay. Make sure they got a drink, make sure that they are okay. Sometimes they might say, hey, you know, depending on where you are, they might want to go back to the hotel
And
they might want to go home.
Yep.
So you want to at least check in with them and gauge that temperature to make sure that it's not a full-blown abandonment issue.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So like I was talking to you about like your fraternity conferences and conventions, or you guys call them conclaves. So, you know, I wouldn't want to take you away from that because you want to concentrate on the business of what you're there for. And so that's kind of how I feel about it. But if I am going with you to homecoming, because we went to different colleges, that was a different time in your life. You know, I'm like, hey, go on, you know, y'all football players, y'all got y'all thing. I don't need to be around that. So you go do your thing. I don't want you to feel like you're constantly trying to make sure I'm good. And then you don't really have a good time.
No, I think that's good. And I think the other etiquette piece that we'll give you is how to deal with sweethearts. And what I mean by sweethearts is ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, or ex-skeezers, ex-bust downs, whatever you want to call them. The one that got away. The one that got away, whatever you want to call them. Because people come out the woodworks during homecoming and class reunion season. So, you know, people like, man, you know, she still look good. She can still wear them.
Why people always got to be like, she still. It can't just be like, she look good.
Right.
It's the still. Like, we expected her to go down. We expected him to go down. But
so I think you got to like deal with sweethearts and past exes in a different situation. So you have moved on. Your life is completely different. So, man, listen, I don't want y'all finishing each other's sentences. And I don't want y'all like, you know,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That means y'all communicating still finish each other's sentences.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think it could be, but I think it's more so that think about it. Like if you dated somebody, like think about when I was in college, the person I was with for 6 years. That's a long time in your life to be with somebody. So
you was in college for 6 years.
You got to add in law school, jerk. That was a good one though. But 4 + 3 is 7, right? That's right. So six of that.
I'll just go about what you said, counselor.
But anyway, I digress. So, you know, you with somebody for a significant amount of time, you learn that person. So you learn their family, you learn inside jokes.
I was just gonna say it's the inside jokes that's probably gonna get it. Cause I'll be honest, my college roommate and I, we be like, remember such and such and such and such, and only she would get that joke. So I'll be like, you know, my college roommate wore glasses and contacts, and we had bunk beds. She get in the top bunk bed and be like, Shay, could you give me my glasses? Nobody else would know that joke but me and her did. Her contacts, she put them under her pillow in the case. So if I joked about that, nobody would know about that. That's college.
Right. So inside jokes, you know, and also, you know, if you are the person that decides not to bring your significant other or your mate to the reunion. So if you go to Grambling and you in Louisiana or you in Tennessee and you're out of town and you go by yourself, like I think it would be highly inappropriate for you to go out on a date, or I'm not gonna say a date, but I'm saying date is the wrong word, but that's how it could be interpreted. Like you go out with your ex, you go out with your ex-girlfriend or your ex-sweetheart, ex-boyfriend alone. Y'all go out to lunch. Y'all go to the favorite little union college restaurant that everybody
Mhm.
ate at, and you go in there alone and you're trying
Right.
to catch up on old times.
Now,
Old times are over. I think those days are past. I think that is an etiquette
yeah,
problem where you're going
right.
out with your ex alone, without your spouse, without your mate. And it's just
No.
all kind of things that can happen. The nostalgia kicks in, the
Right,
alcohol starts
right,
flowing,
right. You
the
gotta
old times start being discussed. The next thing you
no,
know,
you gotta
you
keep
don't have no
that.
clothes on.
The,
You got one sock on, and your bra's twisted.
you at
And
the
the next thing you
restaurant.
know, yeah, so
But you know, you got to keep those in the group outings because you know you hung out with a crew. Y'all had some crew or whatever.
yeah.
So everybody go out together. Do not put yourself in a compromising position to get caught up or something because people are human, you know, and one person might interpret something the wrong way. So you don't want that to happen either. So I think those are some pretty good ways to handle, you know, how you treat and entertain your significant other or your spouse while at a class reunion or homecoming.
And that is dope. That is great tips, great
So
etiquette. Whether you bring them, whether you leave them at home, whatever you do, why don't you tell us in the comments? What would
yeah,
you do? What would
what
you
would
do?
y'all do?
Or what have you done?
Right, right.
Give us some tips. Allow this to kind of be a free flowing, because I'm sure everybody has handled this situation different.
Yeah.
Drop in the comments. Do you bring your significant other or your mate or spouse, whatever that person is, back to the class reunion, back to the homecoming? If you do, why don't you share in the comments why? If you don't, share in the comments why. And let us know whether or not this podcast has been helpful, and share some tips that can help others as they listen and as they read. This is Married People's Business Podcast. We thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. Keep going to those class reunions, rekindling great memories and growing, binding with each other, and just continue to listen to this podcast. Follow, like, share, and do all the cool things that people do when it comes to content like this. So thank you very much. God bless you, and we love you.
Bye.
Take care.